Howdy y'all, welcome to another episode of the Shitty Guitarist. That's me. Today we're going to talk about the Axess Electronics new pedalboard interface and buffer. This thing is pretty incredible. And just for the start, I'm a huge fan of Axess Electronics and all the stuff they do. So not only will this do interface your pedalboard, it has the functionality to go from 2-cable to 4-cable mode. So if you're just taking your pedalboard and using a rented or provided backline, and there's no effects loop, you just push the button to go to 2-cable mode, and it puts everything in front of the amp and in a line with your front of amp effects. Press the button if there's an effects loop, connect the cables, and it's back to work. It will also do wet, dry, wet, and stereo. And if you go to axesselectronics.com, you can see all the different ways you can hook this up. For comparison, right here's the Vertex DIY buffer that I built. Here's the Axess. They're basically the same size. The Axess is about 50% taller, but it's the same size takes up the same amount of real estate as my thing comes off. So they're basically the same buffer box. The Axess is $169 directly from Axess, which is fairly close. I think it was about $140 to build the Vertex buffer in the manner that I did. But one, I didn't have to solder, and this has way more functionality. The other things is I had the CFX4 I've used in the past. All this stuff is super easy to program. On my rig with the Ignitor in the background, which by the way, Axess did the MIDI implementation on the Ignitor and on the Randall MTS as well. But so I gigged like 15 years ago, I gigged with the MSC5 MIDI pedal as well as the GRX4. Right, and both are super. Even the CFX4, which allows you to use an amp that doesn't have MIDI, right? Just 1/4-inch jacks and turn in the MIDI functionality. They're all super easy to program, right? You don't need a computer to do it. It's just push button and super sturdy as well. Like I said, I gigged for about 5 years with the Ignitor before I went direct, and that was mainly because I was tired of lugging stuff because I had to carry the PA as well. So anyway, so we're going to run a compare. I'm going to do a 2-cable demo and then a 4-cable demo on the deanmarkley. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks. All right, so here's the board with the Axess. So this is the Vertex, and you can see it's essentially the same width as the Axess. If we set them down side by side, the Axess is a little bit taller, but it also has double jacks, as I showed you earlier. So I'm going to do a quick shot, play a couple licks with this in 2-cable mode, and then I'll hook it up to 4-cable mode, and you can hear that. Alright, so this is 2-cable. Settings are all the same Wolfgang, Flametop Special. The only thing I've changed is I added a little bit more regen on the carbon copy. Alright, now I'm going to hook it up in 4-cable. Alright, so this is 4-cable. it was as simple as plugging in the effects loop send and return cable into the right spots on the Axess, and then pushing the button. There's a 4-cable, 2-cable button, and pressing that. In both instances, the Axess buffer is on. And my playing is especially crappy tonight. So hopefully you can hear the difference between putting the time-based and modulation effects in the reverb in the loop versus in the front. Hopefully that helps. Definitely makes connecting your pedal board easier, especially if you're going back and forth between an amp with a loop and an amp without a loop. This same pedal board interface, you can also use it in a wet dry wet rig. It's that flexible. So it's not just made for just a regular mono pedal board like I'm using it here. I could also put it on the wet dry wet rig and use it as the interface for that as well, which is pretty cool if you ask me. So hopefully this won't be the last thing we see from Axess Electronics or axsgtr. Because quite frankly, he does make fantastic products and amazing customer service. I highly recommend them. Thanks, y'all.